Let's begin with Texas Democrats in the House, though. They are losing another member, not to retirement, but to the Republican Party. State Rep Ryan Guillen from South Texas switched parties last week. His former colleagues say that Guillen did so simply to get reelected. Our first guest is State Rep Chris Turner. He chairs the House Democratic Caucus and joined us from his district. Mr. Chairman, welcome back to our program. We appreciate you being here. Let's start with State Representative Ryan Guillen from down in South Texas. He announced that he is switching parties. He's leaving Democrats, becoming a Republican. The GOP, though, chopped up his district during redistricting. And you said instead of staying and fighting that he chose to join them. Guillen, on the other hand, says that he no longer agrees with Democrats on a number of issues. My question is, did you guys have a conversation before this happened?
Jason, good morning. And no, we did not have a conversation. The last conversations I had with Ryan were during the third special session when we were working very hard to try to save his district. We both knew that Republicans were trying to gut his constituents in his district for partisan gain. And we were working on different scenarios to try to keep his district intact. And obviously, the Republicans chose not to do that. So, I was disappointed that Ryan chose to switch parties. And I heard what he said the other day. And I like Ryan a lot, but I don't think he believes those things that he's saying. Ryan's been a key vote for with Democrats on our priorities like Medicaid expansion. He's stood with us voting against the so-called Republican election integrity bill, the anti-voter bill, and so I don't know how well he's going to fit in his new party, but clearly he's decided it's important that he try to stay in office, and that's the way he's decided to go about it.
Representative Turner, with Guillen's departure and with retirements, even notable ones like Garnett Coleman, who's been a fixture there for 3 decades, Democrats have even further ground to make up in 2022. What is your plan to do that as chairman of the House Democratic Caucus?
Look, I think that Democrats are going to gain a seat in Tarrant County. We're going to gain a seat in Collin County and in Fort Bend County. And while we're going to have some challenges elsewhere, like we just talked about in Representative Guillen's area. But what I think for the long term is that the state is changing, and Republicans were only able to do so much in redistricting, even with their abuse of power in the process, they were only able to do so much because this state is becoming more diverse, it's becoming younger, and increasingly Republicans are simply out of step with the majority of Texans.
And Chris Beto O'Rourke is in the race for governor now, already had huge fundraising numbers in the first 24 hours, which if someone has followed him, that might not surprise them. What do you expect, though, he's going to bring to Democrats down ballot next year?
Well, I think Beto's going to be a tremendous help to Democrats up and down the ballot. I mean, most importantly, he's offering Texans a choice between new leadership that is going to take on the big challenges facing our state, like fixing our electric grid, ending the pandemic, and bringing health care to the millions who are uninsured in the state, versus Greg Abbott's very small vision for our state, and one where he continues to cater to the lowest common denominator in the Republican primary. And so that's going to be good for Texas. It's definitely going to be good for the Democratic Party. And we saw in 2018 when Beto ran for the Senate, it had tremendous effect up and down the ballot, and Democrats gained seats in the House and in Congress. And so I think that we'll see a similar dynamic this time, and I'm excited Beto's running.
The Republican National Committee is going to be on our program a little later here, discussing its investment in South Texas. As you know, the GOP is making inroads there. It has the mayor of McAllen, who is a Republican. It won Zapata County in 2020. President Trump did. Do you think Republicans are on the verge of cracking the big blue wall in South Texas?
No, I don't. I think Republicans are competing in South Texas, and I think the Democrats have to work harder in South Texas, and I think we all know that. And I think that's why you've seen Beto in the very earliest days of his campaign spend time in South Texas. I think that's very smart, and I think he'll be there a lot. I think other Democratic candidates will be there a lot, and I think our Democrats in the legislature in South Texas are going to redouble their efforts to make sure that South Texas stays a Democratic area. But we welcome the competition, and the Republicans are welcome to go and compete down there. But I'm confident our Democratic candidates and office holders are going to remain strong in South Texas and keep South Texas in the Democratic column.
Representative Turner, we appreciate the time as always. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Let's talk more about Texas Democrats in 2022. Representative Ryan Guillen there of Rio Grande City is switching parties. He's becoming a Republican. Representative Joe DeSotel from Beaumont is retiring after 2 decades. And Houston's Garnett Coleman is leaving the legislature as well. So what does 2022 look like for Democrats? We're asking Ross Ramsey to get out his crystal ball this morning. Ross is the co-founder and executive editor of the Texas Tribune in Austin, as always. Ross, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jason. There's always a chance I'm going to have to glue my crystal ball back together, but we could try.
It's been broken many times, I'm sure, especially on this program here. These seats we're talking about, Guillen, well, Guillen's a little different, but DeSotel and Beaumont and Garnett Coleman, they aren't in danger of flipping, but Democrats are losing some important players with these 2 guys alone. How big of a deal are these losses for Democrats?
Well, I think the Coleman loss in particular is a huge one. He's been one of the stalwarts among the Democrats in the House, one of the people you could look at on the floor of the House. There's 150 members. And if you kind of know your way around in there, you can pick out 10 or 12 of them, and those are the people to follow, and they'll tell you how the whole thing's going. Garnett's been one of those for a long, long time, and that's going to be a deeply felt loss. DeSotel's been there for a while, not as powerful as Coleman, but that's also a tall tree. The Guillen thing is a little different because it's a Democrat changing party in a part of the state where Republicans did unexpectedly well in 2020. They're trying to cement those wins. They did some of it drawing redistricting maps, and now they're getting members like Guillen, who's a conservative Democrat, to flip.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Quickly on this next one here, too. The federal report on the deadly February power outage is out. It blames natural gas, lack of supplies there. Any chance this moves the lawmakers, the legislature, to do anything in the interim?
I think that and a couple of other things in this report might move them. They did a similar report after the Dallas freezes in 2011,
right,
and the legislature ignored them. The legislature came back this time, did some things, but left a lot of things on the table. One of them is the natural gas thing. Another is they delayed a requirement for winterization. All of that could play into the election this year.
Yeah, indeed so. Ross, thanks a lot. Back to you in a moment. Coming up, our conversation with Beto